Silence is one of the most misunderstood forms of power. In a world addicted to noise, reaction, and constant communication, silence feels unnatural. When someone distances themselves from you, rejects you, or pulls away, your first instinct is often to speak, to explain, to justify, to argue, or to plead. The silence on the other side feels unbearable, so you rush to fill it. But the Stoics would tell you, the one who can sit in silence without breaking is the one who holds true strength. When you stay silent, you're not just withholding words, you're creating space. Space for reflection, space for awareness, space for the other person to feel the weight of their own decisions. Words can be deflected, explanations can be ignored, but silence lingers. It presses against the mind of the other person because it leaves room for their imagination to work against them. The longer you stay silent, the more they begin to notice the absence of your energy. At first, they may dismiss it, believing you'll eventually reach out. But as days turn into weeks, that absence starts to feel heavier than your presence ever did. They remember the conversations, the comfort, the attention you once gave. And now, without it, they feel the sharpness of the void. This is where Stoicism comes alive. Not in playing games, but in practicing discipline. Silence is not about manipulation. It's not about waiting for them to crawl back just so you can win. Silence is about choosing not to spend your life explaining yourself to people who didn't value you when you were speaking. It's about guarding your peace and refusing to waste energy on convincing anyone of your worth. And here's the paradox. When you no longer chase, they begin to feel chased by their own thoughts. They replay your silence like an echo, wondering why you didn't react, why you didn't fight to prove yourself, why you didn't collapse under the pressure of being ignored. Because most people expect noise. They expect desperation. When it never comes, they're left with something far more powerful: curiosity. The longer your silence lasts, the more they feel it. Not because you're punishing them, but because you've stepped out of the arena entirely. You've chosen to rise above the drama, to focus on your own path, to embody what the Stoics taught, control what you can, release what you cannot. And nothing demonstrates control more clearly than the strength to stay silent when speaking would only weaken your position. At first, your silence feels like a pause to them, temporary, harmless, nothing to worry about. They assume you'll break. Most people do. They expect the message, the call, the long explanation where you pour out your heart. But when that message never arrives, something begins to shift. Instead of feeling secure in their decision, they start to question it. Instead of feeling power in your absence, they feel a strange unease, because silence is not empty. It's full of the things they can't control, full of the thoughts they can't silence inside their own mind. The Stoics understood this deeply. They believed the greatest victories come not through force, but through restraint. Epictetus taught that you cannot control others. You can only control your own choices, your own tongue, your own reactions. By refusing to speak, you exercise mastery over the very thing most people cannot master, their urge to react. And that mastery makes your silence louder than any words could be. The longer your silence continues, the heavier it becomes for them. They start to notice how much of their day once revolved around you, how much they relied on your attention, your validation, your presence. And the absence cuts deeper than the presence ever did. Because presence is taken for granted, but absence forces recognition. Here's the irony. When you tried to explain yourself, they didn't listen. When you tried to convince them of your worth, they dismissed it. But when you go silent, they have no shield. They cannot argue with it, cannot deflect it, cannot escape it. Your silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to confront the truth about their choices and the emptiness those choices created. And this is why silence, when rooted in Stoicism, is not about bitterness. It's about dignity. It's not about waiting with folded arms for them to crawl back. It's about protecting your own peace by refusing to waste it. And in doing so, you become something rare. A person who doesn't beg for attention, who doesn't crumble under rejection, who doesn't need to shout in order to be heard. They feel the silence because it reveals something they never noticed before. You are not just another voice in the crowd. You are a source of calm, strength, and presence. And when that's gone, the void is undeniable. Silence is not passive, it's active. Every day you remain silent, you are sending a message without sending a word. And the message is simple. I do not need to chase what does not value me. That stance does more than words ever could. It forces them to rethink the story they told themselves about you. Maybe they thought you would always be available. Maybe they assumed you couldn't live without them. Maybe they believed their absence would break you. But your silence proves the opposite, and nothing unsettles someone more than realizing you are stronger than they imagined. The longer you hold this silence, the more it transforms from absence into presence. Strange as it sounds, your silence begins to live in their mind. They think of you while scrolling. They remember you in the quiet moments of the day. They wonder if you've moved on, if you even think of them at all. Every question gnaws at them, and every answer they invent only deepens their curiosity. Words would have ended the mystery. Silence makes it infinite. The Stoics remind us that nothing external can disturb us unless we allow it. When you choose silence, you're not playing a game. You're practicing discipline. You're saying, I will not let someone else's actions pull me into chaos. And that strength becomes magnetic. In a world where people constantly overshare, overreact, and over-explain, the one who can stay composed in silence is unforgettable. And here's the hidden truth. Silence is not just about them, it's about you. It gives you space to breathe, to heal, to rebuild, to redirect your energy towards something greater. It's the pause that allows you to grow. While they sit in confusion, wondering why you haven't broken, you are rising, and the higher you rise, the more your silence speaks for you. Eventually, they begin to feel something they never expected. Regret. Not because you shouted, not because you begged, not because you tried to force them to stay, but because your silence revealed what their noise could never hide, that you had the strength to let go, and they had the weakness to lose someone rare. The longer you stay silent, the deeper they feel it, not because you punished them, but because you chose peace over chaos, strength over weakness, and dignity over desperation. In the end, silence is not about control. It's not about waiting for someone to come crawling back, or about winning some hidden battle. The real victory of silence is freedom. Freedom from needing to explain yourself to people who never truly listened. Freedom from begging for what should have been given willingly. Freedom from tying your peace to the approval of someone else. The Stoics teach us that our strength is measured not by what we can acquire, but by what we can endure. And nothing demonstrates endurance more than holding silence when everything in you wants to break it. Each day you choose silence, you are proving to yourself that your emotions don't rule you. You rule them. And that is what they feel most deeply. Not just the absence of your words, but the undeniable presence of your strength. Because in a world where everyone is loud, the one who can remain calm is unforgettable. In a world where everyone begs, the one who walks away is rare. In a world where everyone explains, the one who is silent is the one who lingers longest in the mind. So remember this: the longer you stay silent, the more powerful your presence becomes. Not because you forced anyone to miss you, but because you proved something greater. You no longer needed to be chosen. And that, in the truest Stoic sense, is the kind of strength no one can ignore.